Good morning everyone, welcome to Card Collectanea. This is Cindy, and today I'd like to show you two cards that are sort of the same, two different things on the same idea. And I used two items for my inspiration. One is this freshly made sketches number 39. It's the current contest sketch that they're using now. And then I combined that with an idea that I found in the current issue of Card Maker magazine, and in that particular one they show using photos as an inspiration for a card front. So I have two here that use the same picture. One is printed out in black and white, and the other is done as it was in color on the computer program that I used. I took both these images, this image from Printmaster, and again I printed one out in color and one in black and white, and I just used a glossy paper. I don't know that you'd have to use that, just any good weight paper will work fine. So I'm going to show you what I did with both these cards. Again, one is black and white, the same picture, a rose or a couple of roses, and one in color. And I'll start first with the purplish one here. Again, this is just a black and white print of a couple of roses, one open and one a bud, and I put those. I started with a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch card, and then because the sketch needed to have something along the edge on the left hand side and then a major shape in the middle, I went with a black and purple. I used a purple strip. It's 1 1/4 inches wide and 5 1/2 inches tall. And I put behind that a black, just a black mat, which is 1/4 inch wider, still 5 1/2 inches long. And so I will put those together. But then with my rose, I trimmed the picture down to about 2 3/4 inches. Then I added a white mat, which is just a bit larger than that, not quite 1/4 inch larger, and then a black mat that I'm going to put behind the white. I rounded all the corners using a Fisker's corner rounder, and then on the purple strip I used an embossing folder, which is called Musical Swirls. It's by Cuttlebug, and so I had just a small strip, so obviously I didn't get all the swirls in there, but I wanted to add a little bit of something to pull that, make it more noticeable even though it was raised off the page. So I took some white chalk, some glittery chalk that I had gotten from Oriental Trading, and I went over all the raised parts with that. And then once I put all these rose layers together, then I'll put them on some foam tape and adhere them right now. So I'll do that in just a moment. Now I want to show you the blue one. The blue one I decided to turn so that the sketch goes like this rather than this way. So I'm going to put the swirl or the band across near the bottom. And the paper that I'm using is a Coordinations paper. It's from their Gemstones line, and you can tell that on one side it's shiny and lighter colored, and on the back it's a darker, sort of a dull. Now this is a blue, a grade blue, and I use the darker for the base of the card. And I don't know that you can see the dots on camera here, but I ran the front of this through a Swiss dot folder using I wanted to put the whole thing through that way, so my small embossing machine wouldn't work, so I used the big kick and put that through like that with the Swiss dots folder. And then I cut this 5 1/2 by 1 1/2 inch piece. Once I had it cut, then I trimmed, or I used a edger on it and I use the scallops. I use EK Success, a scallop, sort of a double scallop edger. And so I scalloped one edge of that. Now for my rose, again, I trimmed this, printed it out in color on this one, and used the same shiny paper that I had used before. Rounded all the corners, but then I used Elegant Edges, and this is the edge that's called, I don't know, Dots Scallop 2. It's on page 24 of your booklet. 24. I used just the shift format or feature for that for the white one. I cut it at 3 inches, and then I also cut the shadow in this pinkish color. This is I don't know where I got this paper, and so I cut the white in the scallop and the peach colored in the shadow, which I wanted to be just a bit bigger. So that's what I did. I cut them all at 3 inches. So I will layer my approximately 2 3/4 inch picture on to my white square 3 inch, and then I will put all of that on top of the shadow piece done in the peach colored again. And then before I put that down, I wanted to add a little bit more peach to the whole look of the card, so I cut a 5.5 by 3/8 of an inch strip, and I'll put that there first, and then I'll set this on top, and then when I finish those, then I'll be able to add my sentiments. So I'll do that, and I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back now with both of them put together. I'll continue with this blue one first of all. I'm going to add the sentiment Love You, which is from a Fisker's set of sentiments. And I'll center that up here on my block, and I'm going to put it, although the little sketch that I'm using would call for me to put it right here, I'm going to put it down here in this empty spot on the lighter shade of blue. It will show up and better, and this portion here, the card back, has been embossed with dots, so it will be hard to stamp on that particular one. So I'm going to put the sentiment right here, and it's just going to say Love You. And so I'll ink that up with I'm using a la mode pigment ink. It's black. I've gone ahead and finished up the stamping here, Love You, and it looks fine. You could give this to any person for any particular occasion that you want to show how much you care about him or her, probably her. It looks more feminine. And then the other one I have finished as well. This one, for this one I used a stamp set called Card Crafting Hello. It's from TPC Studios. I got it at Hobby Lobby, and I just stamped this little saying, friends fill your life with joy, your soul with sunshine, and your heart with love. I thought that was a beautiful little saying. And then because the card looked a little plain, I decided to add some little gemstones at the top, 3 of them. They're just the clear ones. And so you could give this one for any particular for no particular occasion, for any occasion at all. And if you'll see them together, you'll see that they're the same basic idea, and they do fit the card sketch quite well, fairly close, except the sentiment on this particular one. But take an inspiration where you can, and again, this is the same photograph, once in black and white, once in color. So if you have a computer program that has photographs on it, or if you want to go to the internet and find some that you can use there, just be sure to give credit where credit is due. So have a great time exploring what you can do with this, and have a wonderful Father's Day. See you soon. Bye-bye.